I used to think of it as like the Jetsons building, like a spaceship or something.
Well, it was very modern. It was a modern building at that time, and it was quite impressive because it was unique, needless to say.
Our first big excitement was the introduction of the IBM Selectric typewriter.
Red Selectric typewriters.
I think the electric typewriter.
I had a typewriter.
We had an electric typewriter to write letters on.
We were just overwhelmed at how they were just so beautiful. And of course, they bought red, so they would go with the red carpeting.
I could type 12 carbon copies.
And they also had a correction button. Oh, that was amazing. If you made a mistake typing at that point in time with carbon paper, you had to rip it up and start all over again.
They were still charging materials out by hand.
There were still these wonderful things called the tubs, which were files, long wooden boxes with file cards in them.
The call number, author title, and the
date due.
So each hole, was like a month or something like that.
Slips with like two carbon copies, and you filed the back and you punched holes because you put rods through.
It was called needling.
You took a long needle, stick it through a big pile of cards, and whirl them around.
Twirl it around.
Shake it around, and cards would fly on the floor.
And the ones that were overdue would fall out.
All over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you found out if a book was overdue.
That was the technology.
Yes, that was it.
When you think about how really awful that system was.
But there was something pleasant about it, right?
I'm not going to say a dress code, but the early years of the Rock were that way, actually. People were expected to be fairly well dressed.
Those rules began to relax around the early 70s, finally.
We did not have a dress code. It was already gone. No, we could wear pants.
Mini skirts were there. We had those on.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been casual. Of course, I was in the art department, so quirkiness was always encouraged.
It was a very relaxed atmosphere.
It's never been a dressy kind of place, happily.
I was able to wear my giant bell bottoms now.
No.
At first, when I was thinking about this, I thought, well, it'd be easier to say what hasn't changed.
Many transformations in all the years I've been here, needless to say.
You name a space, it has changed since I've been here.
Well, in the 1970s, the card catalog still occupied most of the space in the reference room.
The center of the whole library was the card catalog.
When you looked into those doors in the lobby, it's just card catalog.
It was like, the monolith in 2001. It just stood out in my mind as this remarkable achievement.
The difference, of course, has been that we're much more interested in user space and less interested in collection space.
We're all much more involved in user outcomes. And so I think the people who are attracted to the profession are different. I think the way we do things are different because we are so much more focused on our users and what we're trying to accomplish for them.
Rather than factoring students perhaps coming to the library to use the collections, they come to the library more to use the space.
It's more a place of gathering, and it's more a place of consultation.
Such a great space to have people, congregate, but also use the digitization, use digital and media and all of that.
Not so much as, I think, access to materials as just having this place that they could be away from the dorm.
So I think that the first 25 years, things changed, but not anywhere near as rapidly as they have changed in the last 20, and especially the last, I would say, 10 years.
I think that the library is wisely reinvented itself.
The library has changed so much and has been so much more forward-thinking than it was when I got here. I think that the changes we've made have all been very, good and very positive, and I think we continue to make more and more.
And I'm sure that will continue.
When I think of the Rock in 50 years, I think about the building and I have a lot of memories, but it's the people and my relationships that I treasure the most.
Overall, I look at our group when I really compare a lot to the rest of campus. I find the library much more family-oriented.
You know, there's been bad days, bad situations and jobs, but generally the work crew here, the community here, is fabulous. And I've always been treated well.
I think that's what kept us, is the co-workers. Not all, but a lot of them.
And we've seen a lot of them.
And we've seen a lot of them, yeah.
I think the library will be here and functioning long after we're gone.
Thank you, Brown. It'll be 30 years next year. Unbelievable though it seems.
It's just been an amazing place to kind of grow up, and I guess I pretty much grew up here.